I thought we were the protectors of truth. Democrats, Republicans, you all lie. We, a small band of survivors, are on our way to the Steel City to find the resistance. Join us.
Welcome to the Steel City Resistance with Senior Airman Ward Miller and the ironclad voice of Pittsburgh, Hutch Jr., laying down verbal C4 to blow away the lies and the political tomfoolery. Your papers have been cleared. Welcome to the Steel City Resistance.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Steel City Resistance. This is episode 69. My name is Hutch Jr., and I am located deep down in the bunker in Brookline in the city of Pittsburgh.
And I'm Ward Miller, also in the city of Pittsburgh here in Mission Control. We're ready to rock and roll with it. Hopefully one of our better shows.
And it's going to be a long one. I mean, it might not be longer than 60 minutes. We started a little late. We apologize for that. Things happen. That's only the first or second time we've done that, so that's a pretty good record. Like I said, episode 69. That's a lot of hours, Ward.
Yeah, well, it's 69 of them.
Well, and then some on the producing end too.
Yeah, and that doesn't even count the time you spent encrypting or compressing the video and creating or the audio, or the time I take to edit the video. And
we love doing it, though. It's for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
For the resistance. First of all, right out of the gate, I want to give a shout out to a website. It's OMG, it's Jen. Oh my God, it's Jen.com. And occasionally when I go around the web, the interwebs, and I see different things, I noticed that she had us. Now, this is a blog that's just about Pittsburgh. It's just like a lifestyle type of a blog about things around here. And I was looking at the stats one day, and I noticed that her website was one of our referring websites. So I went and checked it out, and go check her blog out. OMG, it's Jen. She's listed us on her blog roll, so I thought that was pretty nice of her. And ladies,
you know what we'll do? Why don't we add her to our links page on the website?
We could do that. I was thinking about it, and the content was a little different, and but we can do it anyway.
That doesn't have to be political. I mean, anybody that's cool enough to give us a link, we'll throw them a link.
That's
back.
right. That's right. Now, if you have us listed on your blog roll, let us know so we can talk about your website. I mean, we'd like to reciprocate, but I might not know that you're on our that we're on your blog roll. So let us know. And thanks again.
We don't really monitor that well.
No.
And we'd be more than happy to give you guys a shot at. You know, like I said, if you're cool enough to link to us, we'll be more than happy to reciprocate and, you know, send some love your way.
Absolutely. Now, something happened that to a player that I'm sure you're a football player that you're familiar with, Ward. He dashed our hopes a few times, more than a few times. A linebacker for the Chargers, I believe, Junior Seau.
Yeah, he started with the Chargers, and then he went to Miami, and then to the Patriots.
He smoked us when he was with the Chargers a lot. I remember that.
Hell of a football player.
Yeah.
I mean, hell of an athlete. You know, he committed suicide. And his family has donated his brain for study, and they kind of are alluding to the fact that it may be caused by concussion-like syndrome.
And this is the reason that I brought this on the program. Apparently 100 or so ex-football players are suing the NFL for head injury problems, and I think I've heard some people talking about this, and I think there's a real possibility in our lifetime, Ward, that football gets banned. I hate to say it, but I'm telling you that a high school kid's going to commit suicide or something, and the control freaks are just going to come raining down. I can almost guarantee it.
The thing is, I'm fully behind the NFL stepping in and monitoring someone who has concussion-like syndrome on the sideline, and being able, maybe the NFL provides a doctor. There's a team doctor, but the NFL should have a doctor on either sideline also, and that doctor can always throw the flag and say, look, this guy's he's not able to participate. Like, for example, last season, Colt McCoy got drilled by James Harrison, and they, of course, Harrison got fined for it, but they showed McCoy on the sideline. He had no idea what planet he was on.
Yeah.
And they let him back in the game. And, it's bad enough you take that first shot, but then if you continue to take shots while you're,
look at Muhammad Ali. I mean,
well, Ali's got a combination of getting punched in the head and Parkinson's disease. But I mean, you look at some of the players that this kind of stuff's happened to. Mike Webster, Justin
he ended up
Strelzik.
destitute. I mean, one of the best centers of all time.
Well, he was destitute because he was crazy, because all them shots in the head affected him, and he ended up committing suicide. Well, did he commit suicide?
They found him dead. I don't know if he committed suicide or not.
But I know Strelzik committed
He
suicide.
froze to death or something. It was bad.
What's that?
He froze to death or something. I can't remember Mike Webster. I remember it was tragic though.
Yeah, but Justin Strelzik was the same way, and Strelzik came out, handed somebody in a gas station $7,000, said they're coming to get you, and he jumped in his car and then went head on with an 18-wheeler. And I think that all stems from the fact that, especially linemen and whatnot, they
Ernie
get such
Holmes?
shots in the head.
Ernie
Yeah,
shooting at helicopters.
yeah. I mean, and I think that it all boils down to the same thing. They can increase the equipment as much as they want, but the human body can only take so much abuse before it something's got to give. And I think that, if they were to have a doctor on the sideline and that doctor would be able to rule immediately, this guy's got a concussion. They give you do you know what day it is? 5. All right, he's good to go.
Yeah, I mean, the physical fitness of these people just continues to improve. And I had a battalion commander once that told me, one of these days we're going to be watching a football game and there's going to be a kickoff. Now, this is before they changed the rules on the kickoff return. But he said 2 guys are going to run into each other and freaking explode. I mean, because a human body is a human body. I mean, it's mostly water.
Yeah, and these guys are getting bigger and stronger and faster.
For sure.
And, when you get somebody, and I use a lot of Steeler references because I follow the Steelers.
Well, the Steelers are football. I mean.
Yeah, but you look at somebody like Maurice Pouncey, the center for the Steelers, who works out with the wide receivers, and he runs with the wide receivers. You're talking about a center.
Right.
That's.
You look at some of our linebackers.
Perspective.
Some of our linebackers could be linemen.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
they're big and strong, and they're ridiculous.
Hell, our wide receiver, Hines Ward, was damn near an extra lineman. I mean, he was almost a pulling guard, Anyway, I think it's time that the racism begin. I mean, it started already, and I think you're going to see with this campaign, with the Democrats basically having nothing but negative ideas and accusations to put forward. They can't possibly run on anything they've accomplished because everything they've accomplished is basically socialist in nature. So I think what you're going to see is a concerted effort from NBC and CBS and CNN. I think they're going to call the Fast and Furious situation racist. Yeah,
that's all. I agree with you 100% there. It's one of the cases where they can't run on their record because their record stinks. And, the Obama's landmark piece of legislation that everybody was saying was so great, he's not running on.
No, he won't even mention it.
One time that he's mentioned that anytime, and the other thing, in fact, I was going to write something about this on the website. What I don't understand is Obama yesterday said he kicked off his campaign in Ohio just so that he could get the Ohio people wound up. But he's been campaigning for 6 months.
Oh, absolutely.
If not a year. And so to me, the fact that he said, well, we're launching our campaign here in Ohio where, and they did it at Ohio State where they had all these useful idiots that were there and they were cheering and, and he went forward with his, we're going forward.
Which we're going to get to in a little bit.
And we're going to get to in a little bit. But he started all that stuff and it's like at no time did he mention anything he did because nothing he did was successful.
Nothing he says, and if you'll notice, everything revolves around the personal pronoun I.
Yes.
Every single thing, it's me or I, even to the point where he was calling out, and we have a story about this also, when he was calling out the Osama bin Laden deal, and Clinton said the biggest thing was if it failed, it would be so bad for Obama. If any of these SEALs got killed, it would be so bad for Obama. These people are just completely out of touch with any kind of humanity, dignity, integrity. It's unbelievable, man.
Here's the thing: if the Bin Laden raid would have gone bad, it would have been Jimmy Carter's Iranian incident, and that's what he's referring to. And he would have been totally right, because
he would have been totally right, except it would have been much worse for the people with the bullets in their head.
Oh, absolutely.
Was my point, you know.
No, and I agree with you. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that the fact that SEAL Team 6, you know, and the guys that got him in and got him out and all that was a concerted team effort. I mean,
sure it was.
And to be honest with you, Obama didn't have a choice.
No,
you know,
he didn't.
He's
We
like,
talked
well,
about
I made
that.
the call. You made the only call that you could make.
Absolutely.
If you would have said, no, we're not going after him, hell, you're linking pictures
And I think,
of the a situation room while everybody's standing around staring. If you would have said, no, go, that would have ended any chance he had of being reelected.
And I think his trumpeting of this is going to hurt him in the long run anyway. They're already making political hay out of this. I mean, it's
oh yeah,
he shouldn't have done it, man. He needs to get new advisors.
Well, the thing is, it was a year ago. Okay, yeah, you killed Bin Laden a year ago. But the bottom line in politics is, what have you done for me lately? They've done nothing.
Some
they
chief
haven't
petty
created
officer.
any jobs.
Some chief petty officer killed Osama. Obama didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's not like he pulled the trigger.
Right.
He said, "Go get him."
Now we have a teachable moment here. I just want to make sure you and I have been around for a while, Ward, so we recognize it coming out of the gate. But if this is your first political experience, or first or second, you're just getting into this thing a little bit, I want you to be prepared. I'm going to tell you what you're going to hear. We just talked about the Democrats have nothing successful to talk about. So what they're going to do, starting yesterday, or starting a year ago, if not longer, they're going to use Saul Alinsky tactics, and they're going to try to demonize every Republican. They're going to lie. They're going to call out, we all know that we have $15 trillion in debt. And in order to fix that, we have to cut spending. So every single spending cut that we have even considered in the last 10 years, they are going to bring out and say that we are stealing food off of grandmother's plate. We are stealing education. We are taking this. We want the air to be dirty. We want da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
And they've already started it. You're absolutely right.
And we've heard it so many times before, Ward. I just want to give the young people that are listening to the show a heads up on it is completely predictable, 100% predictable what these people on the left are going to do, because they have nothing. You're going to hear racism, and you're going to hear about the cuts that we have to make to spending, and they're going to demonize Romney. They're going to demonize whoever the VP choice is, because we know we have to make certain cuts. There's no way around it.
Yeah, and it's one of them things where that's part of that job. You know, being the president doesn't mean that you just get to take vacations and play golf. Sometimes you have to make a tough decision, and you have to stick by it. And that's the part that this president doesn't get.
And if he would have,
the tough decision,
he could have made a couple decisions and probably got reelected. If he would have looked at the country first and not his communist ilk, he could have, like for instance, if he would have approved that Keystone pipeline. I mean, he lost some
that would have been a
environmentalists.
big win.
Yeah, he might have lost some environmentalists, but he's going to win all the unions. You know, I'm saying.
Well, the sad thing is he's going to win all the unions anyway, and that's what.
Well,
and I'm
that's
sure
true.
that's what he was thinking. I'm going to get the unions anyway. I don't have to appease them. They're going to come with me anyway. So then, I can cancel the pipeline. So because I'm still going to get the unions and I'll get the environmentalists. He wants his cake and he wants to eat it too.
Sure. I'm glad we were wrong on May Day. May Day's turned out to be a dud. I mean, in some of the real leftist strongholds in Seattle and Oakland and places like that in New York, they made a little bit of noise, but it really wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be much bigger than it was.
Yeah, apparently the community organizer skills are a little rusty.
Yeah, they're getting a little weak.
The community wasn't involved.
I think they were running out of the $60 a day payments or something, maybe. We mentioned last week the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And if you go on the website, the entire stand-up routine by Jimmy Kimmel's on there. And, man, he lambasted everybody. I mean, Republicans, too. But, man, he got everybody in the administration. It was unreal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he dropped the bomb about, the prostitutes in Columbia on the Secret Service. But I think that he he even pointed out that Obama's not going to get a second term.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good line. I wish I could remember it right now. He said they have a term. He said Barack Obama has done some really hard things and, tried to get us out of this mess, and they have a term for that. Probably not 2 terms, but they have a term for it. That was funny, we have an interesting development in Indiana. Everybody's talking on the mainstream media, the left behind media, the legacy media, that the Tea Party's dead. Well, is he a senator? Is Lugar a senator or congressman?
I believe he's a congressman.
Dick
I
Lugar,
could be wrong.
I can't remember, but Dick Lugar is up for re-election for his 36th term or something like that, or 36 years or something. He's been there way too long. But a Republican Tea Party candidate, the treasurer from the state of Indiana, Richard Murdoch, challenged him in the primaries, is challenging him in the primary, which is going to be held Tuesday. And the new guy's up by 10 points. And I mean, Lugar has all the old school GOP establishment guys in his corner. I mean, he's got Mitch Daniels coming out for him and, a whole bunch of other old heads. And it looks like Murdoch's going to pick that seat up, at least the nomination.
The thing is, the Tea Party doesn't have to have marches.
No, we don't protest, right.
We don't need to. If we want to do it, we'll have a gathering or whatever, and they'll have something in D.C. and that they don't have to pay for security for, because the Tea Party doesn't do anything. They don't have to hire additional cleanup staff to come in and clean up the National Mall, because they don't trash it, unlike the way they did when Obama was elected, and it took them 3 weeks to get all the trash out of the National Mall because of during the what's it called? Not the induction ceremony, the
inauguration.
Yeah, the inauguration. Yeah, the mess that was made in the National Mall was beyond repulsive.
Despicable, man. Yeah, horrible. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your weekly jihad report, covering April 21st to April 27th. Jihad attacks 37. Allah Akbars 3. Dead bodies 128. Critically injured 244. And incidentally, Allah Akbars mean suicide attacks. So there's your weekly jihad report. I said I was going to put that on there. I might. We'll see how it goes. I kind of like it. Ward, why don't you take us deep down into the SEAL war room?
Yeah, the SEALs slam Obama for using them as ammunition and bid to take credit for the bin Laden killing during an election campaign. Serving and former U.S. Navy SEALs have slammed President Barack Obama for taking the credit for the killing of Osama bin Laden, and accused him of using Special Forces operators as ammunition for his re-election campaign. The SEALs spoke out to Mail Online after the Obama campaign released the ad entitled "One Chance." In it, President Bill Clinton is featured saying that Mr. Obama took the harder and more honorable path in ordering that bin Laden be killed. The words, "Which path would Mitt Romney have taken?" are then displayed. Besides this ad, the White House is marking the first anniversary of SEAL Team 6 raid that killed bin Laden inside his compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, with a series of briefings and an NBC interview in the Situation Room designated to highlight the gutsy call made by the president. Now, here's my question: how is that a gutsy call?
I'm saying he would have got ratted out. I guarantee it.
That's a no-brainer. And he's making it like, oh, he had to think about this.
That was a sickening commercial.
Thought there. The only thing that I would have done differently is I would have told the SEALs, if he's unarmed, you capture him. We're going to bring him back to ground zero, and we're going to allow all of the families that lost members in the 9/11 attacks to fucking drive golf balls at this moron.
Yeah, that was. Did you see the commercial?
The only change I would have made.
Did you see the commercial that Clinton was in? It was sickening. I mean, it's like, really, they're really doing this? I can't believe this, man. Well, I mean, of course I believe it, but it's just something else. And then we got the 9/11 defendants seize the opportunity to dawa to the disgust of 9/11 family members. They're engaging in jihad in a courtroom. Now, this is why we should have never, I mean, they should have just handled this with no cameras, no reporters, no anything. This should have took one day, and they should have took these guys out back and put a bullet in their head, or better yet, they should have beheaded them, but Moans, sighs, and exclamations erupted Saturday as relatives of 9/11 victims watched 4 closed-circuit TV feeds from Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, that showed the self-proclaimed mastermind of the attacks and co-defendants trying to slow their arraignment, a move that drew outbursts from viewers of, "Come on, are you kidding me? It's actually a joke. It feels ridiculous," said Jim Riches, whose firefighter son Jimmy died at the World Trade Center. Riches watched the hearing from a movie theater at Fort Hamilton in New York City, one of 4 U.S. military bases where the arraignment was broadcast live for victims' family members, survivors, and emergency personnel who responded to the attacks. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and the other defendants were arraigned on charges that include terrorism and murder, the first time in more than 3 years that they appeared in public. During the hearing, they generally refused to cooperate. Like other relatives, Riches expressed frustration. "It's been a mess for 11 years, Riches said, as he stood in the rain during a break in the proceedings. "It looks like it's going to be a very long trial. They want it, they want it, they want." Riches, himself a retired firefighter who worked digging up remains in the days after 9/11, said he hoped that if convicted, the 5 men would be executed. I'll tell you, that's just, we should have never, this is why we can't have the trial in New York or anything like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Holder came out initially, and that was one of the first things he said was that they were going to bring them to New York and they were going to try them in New York City. And there was a massive outcry because the amount of money that would have been that the American people would have had to pay just to secure, to keep these people from being executed on their way into the courthouse, their way out of the courthouse, all the additional security that would have been required. That's why you have it on a military base outside of the United States.
I saw a follow-up article on this where one of the defense attorneys, a female, a white American woman, wearing a freaking hijab or hijab or whatever you call that shit on the head, and she said that every female in there should have to wear that because it offends the Muslims if you don't.
Fuck them.
Oh, boy. Anyway, they're trying to...
I've said it before, Hutch. I would rather be morally wrong than politically correct. I have absolutely no compunction about saying, no, you know what?
No, you know what? We have to deal with this the way it is. You can't use political correctness when you're dealing with people like this. You just can't do it. They're inbred. I mean, you can look at the facts. There's facts. These people marry inside their family. They have forced marriages, the whole... genital mutilation thing. It's real. You know what I mean? I'm going to say it. It's real. It's not something that's that you're bigoted or you're racist or anything else. It's real.
No, you're reporting facts.
Exactly.
When you state as a fact, this is what is going on. That's not racist. That's not being.
It's not Islamophobia when they really do want to kill you.
Exactly.
Anyway, the anthrax stuff's coming again, Ward.
Yeah, there was some threatening letters containing white powder that were sent to Manhattan banks. Envelopes containing white powder turned up on multiple banks in Manhattan on Monday, police told 1010 Winds. I guess that's a news station. I don't know. 5 envelopes were sent to Wells Fargo Bank, and one was sent to J.P. Morgan Chase headquarters, and another sent to Mayor Michael Bloomberg's office, ended up in a mailroom on Gold Street. The powder was determined to be cornstarch, police said. Hazmat teams and detectives were dispatched to the banks all afternoon checking for possible threats. The envelopes also contained notes that were nearly identical, containing references to May Day, which falls on May 1st and is traditionally a rally day for labor movements. The notes also included such statements as, "You have 10 seconds to stop working, you are not in control," and expletive the banks. I bet I know what that expletive is. Occupy Wall Street is planning a big demonstration on Tuesday in New York City, urging followers to block traffic at bridges and tunnels and make it harder for people to get to work. That has the NYPD suspecting that they may be Occupy Wall Street connection to the letters. You think? I'm not aware any unions are actually striking, but the message seems to be connected to that. They say, "Stop work, you have 10 seconds to do it." Brian told 1010 Winds News. I honestly hope that, when I'm going to work or coming home from work, that one of these morons is dumb enough to jump in front of my car to try and stop me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got an SUV and I got 4-wheel drive, and I can guarantee you I have absolutely no bad feelings about driving over these worthless pieces of crap.
I hear you, and the links to Occupy movement are starting to really come out. Cleveland bridge bombing suspect confirmed as occupier. The Cleveland Plain Dealer reports one of the 5 self-described anarchists arrested last week for attempting to blow up a local bridge signed a lease for a West Side warehouse where about a dozen members of the Occupy Cleveland group live. In a 1-hour recording of a Friday evening General Assembly meeting of the group posted on its website, OccupyCleveland.com, Occupy leaders expressed concern about Anthony Haynes' name being on the lease, which strengthens his link to the group. We have a person facing terrorism charges on the lease of our warehouse, said one of the leaders. If this gets into the media, it would be a disaster. It's in the media. Too late. I got to the media, but don't worry. NBC probably won't breathe a word of it. In the Plain Dealer article, another leader at Occupy Cleveland tries to disassociate the group from the would-be terrorists by claiming to be a nonviolent movement. This is, of course, the standard response by the left that Occupy is nonviolent and that anyone who commits violence is a bad apple. Zitt stressed that the Occupy Cleveland movement is dedicated to nonviolence. He said if they had known Hain and the other 4 men were considering terrorism, they would have thrown them out. These people participated in aspects of the movement, but once we discovered what was going on, we decided they could not be part of it, Zitt said. I wish we had learned earlier. This excuse doesn't explain, for example, why the pathetically small Occupy Cleveland reacts so enthusiastically to a speech from a member of the violence-espousing New Black Panther Party that was uploaded to YouTube last October. Violence is part of the diversity of tactics that Occupy and the leftist peace and justice movement use. The wannabe bridge bombers are part and parcel of those tactics. So, I mean, if there's any question, there it is right there. I mean, this whole thing, this has only just begun, too. These are the same anarchists that just don't have any direction in life, and this is what they do. I mean, they don't have any other recourse.
There's no ambition there.
They're unemployable.
They're all tatted up. They got studs coming through their face, and they can't understand why nobody will hire them.
Right.
The other thing is these anarchists in historically have proven, and not just the Occupy movement, but the G20 guys, they're all the same. They're all cut from the same cloth. And they showed up in Pittsburgh when we had the G20, and they start just breaking shit because that's what they do. And in fact, there's a little mom and pop restaurant in the middle of Oakland that got its windows smashed by these anarchists who are protesting, big business and how, capitalism's wrong. But right across the street from it was a Starbucks that was untouched. So they don't even understand what the hell they're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, a lot of them were they're products of the feminization of America. I mean, they probably had single moms and are looking at other men. They won't get married. They're just there's a slice of our society. When you look at the picture of 5 guys, they look just like Occupy people, and there's a root problem there. I mean, I don't know. I do know what it is, but I'm not going to go at length at it. I've read quite a bit about it. It's a shame, really. But we're going to see more of this. Now, Ward, the Obama administration has picked up a new mantra, and we're going to let you kind of describe it a little bit, and then we're going to play one of their fight songs.
All right. Apparently, everybody remembers the original mantra or theme of the 2008 campaign, the hope and change, and everybody got all wound up for it. So now they reached into their big bag of tricks and said, okay, well, we need a new slogan for the new campaign. But the Obama campaign apparently didn't look backwards into history when selecting its new campaign slogan, Forward, a word which has a long and rich association with European Marxism. Many communist and radical publications and entities throughout the 19th and 20th century had the name Forward, or its foreign cognates, whatever. The foreign words that mean forward. Wikipedia had an entire section called Forward, the generic name for socialist publications. Since this story was posted, all of those links on Wikipedia have been taken down or been redacted at some point.
Oh, really?
I don't understand why.
Imagine that,
anyway.
man. Imagine that, you know.
The name Forward carries a special meaning in socialist political terminology, and it's been frequently used as a name for socialist, communist, and other left-wing newspapers and publications. The online encyclopedia explains. The slogan Forward reflected the conviction of European Marxists and radicals that their movement had reflected some march of history and would move forward past capitalism and into socialism and communism.
Almost kind of like progressivism, progressing, going forward.
Yeah. Conservative critics of the Obama administration have noted numerous ties to radicalism and socialists throughout Mr. Obama's history, from the first political campaign being launched in the living room of former Weather Underground members to appointing the green job czar Van Jones a self-described communist.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think this was the Hitler Youth. Was it the Hitler Youth song?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
And it says it's forward. They use, obviously, the German word Vorwärts. But let's take a listen to what could be the White House's new theme song. Forward. Forward, comrade, forward. Well, I'll tell you, that just can't you just see them singing that and marching down Pennsylvania Avenue to that with the
Yeah, I can't. I'd love to see Obama come out and start his next, stump speech. Das Vidanya.
Yeah, and what you got to do is when you go check out the show, the banner of the show this week, you got to think of those people on the picture. You got to think of that song when you're checking that out. Now, enough already. Contempt process begins against Eric Holder on Fast and Furious. It's about time, and I'm still not convinced that we're going to see this happen, Ward. I mean, it's queued up, but they're going to call it racist, I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Cheryl Atkinson at CBS News reports.
That is key right there. Cheryl Atkins at CBS News.
Yeah.
That is the telling thing that Obama's losing control because CBS News is reporting it. It's not Fox News. It's not, the Drudge Report, something like this is CBS News. One of the news organizations that's predominantly in the Democrats' pocket is actually having to come out and, present this. And I'm sorry for interrupting you, Hutch.
Oh, that's quite all right. I interrupt you all the time. That's what we do. But even Anderson Cooper's been coming out against him. I mean, this is getting out of hand. I mean, this is a body. This is a dead agent, two of them. And I heard him talking about this, and you just can't get past that. I mean, the Republicans on the House Oversight Committee will take the first formal step toward contempt proceedings against Attorney General Eric Holder over Operation Fast and Furious. No matter what else happens in Eric Holder's career is branded by Fast and Furious, just like Janet Reno's is branded by Waco, Texas.
Yep.
I mean, this is him for the rest of his life. Eric Holder, you should have manned up a long time ago. The draft consists of a briefing paper and 48 pages that will be distributed to Democrats and Republicans. According to documents, the Department of Justice has given false denials, given answers intended to misdirect investigators, sought to intimidate witnesses, unlawfully withheld subpoenaed documents, and waited to be confronted with indisputable evidence before acknowledging uncomfortable facts. Most importantly, the Justice Department's demonstrable contempt for the congressional investigation has inflicted harm on the people of two nations seeking the truth, and very pointedly on the family of fallen Border Patrol agent Brian Terry and ATF whistleblowers who are now facing retaliation in the wake of their own heroic efforts to expose wrongdoing. Of course, the DOJ makes excuses and tells Ms. Atkinson, "We've done twice a month document productions since last year, and the Attorney General has testified about this matter no less than 7 times, lying every single time." The DOJ doesn't state that they're still holding on to more than 70,000 documents and have only given the committee about 6,000. Representative Gosar told me a lot of those documents are repeats, and it's very well known, too, that a lot of the documents are heavily redacted, rendering them useless. Mr. Holder's testimonies have changed many times and hardly give a straight answer. We don't have answers to these simple questions. Who came up with this operation? Who approved this operation? Absolutely no one within DOJ has been held accountable for Operation Fast and Furious, despite the murders of Agent Terry and 300 Mexicans. Today is also the 1-year anniversary of Mr. Holder's first hearing on this operation. Now, the mainstream media on Fast and Furious is slow and spurious. The House Oversight Committee drafted a contempt citation against Attorney General Eric Holder over Operation Fast and Furious last week. It should be a huge story, but the old media is just pushing it aside like it's no big deal. Yet it was a huge deal when the committee found former White House counsel Harriet Miers and Chief of Staff John Bolton in contempt. No liberal bias at all. After combing through the outlets, I'm going to present the worst offenders. I'm not surprised by any of them, but it still makes me mad. There is nothing at the New York Times. There is nothing at the New York Times. I didn't see anything on Thursday, and I still don't see anything. I tried searching for Eric Holder, Darrell Issa, and even just the word contempt. My search came up void. The Associated Press, the AP, did the bare minimum as usual. For the first time in a long time, the Washington Post reporter Sari Horwitz wrote an original piece on Fast and Furious development. But my slight happiness ends there. It lacks substance from the contempt draft and talks more about how the DOJ insists they've been cooperative when in fact they've been extremely uncooperative. USA Today did worse than the AP and the Post. Reporter Kevin Johnson did say the contempt was because of the documents, but didn't bother to explain any part of the contempt draft. Diane Sawyer and her crew decided it wasn't important either. Instead, they had to talk about how Spirit Airlines is raising their carry-on baggage fees to $100. Brian Williams wasn't any better on NBC Nightly News. Instead of contempt charges, he talked about the lioness trying to grab a baby in a zebra suit through a window. I'll say it again. I doubt the liberal media will ever properly report Fast and Furious, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to call them out. So I'll tell you, that's something that it's predictable, but I think it's just another nail in the coffin of the legacy media and another reason why you need to get some of your news. You can balance it out, but you need to watch or listen to this program, and you need to go out there and just do your own homework, because you're getting led by the nose if you listen to these people.
Yeah, it's one of them cases where they want to make you think that everything is, sunshine and rainbows, and President Obama's done a great job. The bottom line is, if you go back into the story, and look at the basic questions that it asked, as to who approved this operation. Who do you think approved the operation? I already have the audio where that Holder's deputy came out and said that the president authorized it, but they're not pushing that. We have the video of the guy saying President Obama has instructed myself and Eric Holder to, he didn't call it Fast and Furious, they called it something else, but it came out to be Fast and Furious.
Yeah. We posted on the website, I remember.
Yeah. But who came up with this operation. It doesn't matter who came up with it.
And now
it's who approved it.
Right.
That's the bottom line. Because somebody, and it had to be somebody above Eric Holder. If it was Eric Holder who approved it without the president's knowledge,
not possible.
It's not possible, but it should be treason.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, what he did was an act of war.
Especially if you're Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that's not a
war against a friend of this country.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when they found 30 or 60 decapitated bodies hanging from a bridge this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, right down around the border. I mean, we have a freaking large United States Army post right on the other side of Juarez. Fort Bliss is right there. I mean, it's no joke. GIs used to go across the bridge and, go partying or whatever in Juarez. They can't even do that anymore. Juarez is like a war zone. It's horrible, man. It's something that's sad. But since NBC and ABC and everybody else can't bring themselves around to do it, Ward, you brought a story to the show about a blogger that's had about enough, and he dug into his pocket and decided, well, if they're not going to do their job, maybe a couple fazools will make it happen.
Yeah, the Daily Caller has identified the owner of a website promised on Tuesday to pay $10,000 to anyone who can provide an authentic copy of President Barack Obama's course transcripts from his days at Occidental College, Harvard University, or Columbia University. Although its one-page website is presented anonymously, conservative blogger Brooks Baines confirmed to the Daily Caller that he is responsible for it. Baines told the Daily Caller that a group of 8 people, including some he called recognizable figures, are coordinating the effort to make Obama's college transcripts public. Bain told the Daily Caller, and he declined to name any of them. We are doing this because we are tired of the media not doing their job. He said, we are tired of the PR propaganda coming out of places like Media Matters, and we're tired of this administration stonewalling us over things like Fast and Furious. Obama himself is not eligible to claim the reward, Bain said. The president may, however, release his academic records voluntarily, he added. And given media reports about financial pressures professional educators face, he said, the $10,000 offer could be quite attractive.
I thought they got paid pretty well myself, but anyway, yeah, that's it's something. Things like that are going to start happening. I saw a report that an Air Force general started doing a little bit more research, not that much is needed, on the birther issue and how that all developed, like back in 2008, right when Obama started taking over Hillary Clinton, that the big machine kicked in and people were threatened and everything else, and documents started disappearing. I mean, the very basic information about this guy has never been looked for by professionals. I mean, Sheriff
Joe had to do his thing.
His parents, right? His parents are not natural-born citizens. I mean, it plays out. It lays out in the Constitution. You basically have to be a second-generation American to run for president. You can run for any other post, but not the president of the United States.
And basically, with his parentage, he could have been born on the steps of the freaking Capitol, and that wouldn't have made him any more of an American than not.
You can see the genius of the founders. They did not want somebody who had allegiance somewhere else to be the chief executive of this country. And if you look at what this guy's done already, you look at how he's treated our enemies and our allies, and you can see why they
apologize to our enemies. The president of the United States apologizes to no one.
Right, but I mean, you can see why they put it in there because of how this guy's acting. I mean, it's pure genius. It really is. This is like personification of why they wrote this in.
Hutch, can I read the thing from that link real quick before we get moving?
You can do whatever you want, Ward.
from the site that offered the $10,000. Here's exactly what it says verbatim. It says, "You failed, media. We've had over 3 years to vet President Barack Obama, 3 years in office, and over 1 year of campaigning beforehand, and you have either been oddly uninterested or purposefully ignorant of Barack Obama's educational history. You were, however, quite interested in George Bush's transcripts.
Well, certainly.
This uncharacteristic absence of curiosity about an American president alarms us. At $15 trillion, our national debt is the highest it's ever been and keeps growing. We're not convinced that Barack is as smart as you media elitists keep insisting he is. And therefore, we offer in reward $10,000 to anyone who can provide the college transcripts of President Barack Obama, Occidental, Harvard, Columbia. Any would represent more intellectual curiosity about the leader of the free world than the media has demonstrated since Obama won the Democratic primary. Upon obtaining these transcripts, please contact war@thetrenches.us for verification and payment. This offer goes into effect immediately. Media, your stranglehold on the truth ends now. Let the vetting begin. Let's spread the wealth around to vet the president. If you donate to this initiative so we can increase the bounty or upcoming initiatives, click the donate button. Happy May Day, leftists.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's really something that's serious. I mean, if you look at how this whole thing is going, I've heard that his college applications all list him as a foreign student, and he got foreign aid and everything else. I mean, and for there to be nothing, and for them to have already proven that his birth certificate is not a piece of paper, I mean, I can't believe this is going on. That something has to come to a grinding halt. I mean, first of all, if the Republicans don't win in 2012, I don't know what we're going to do then. But if they do, some of this stuff, I've said it before, needs to be cleaned up. I mean, this really, we can't continue to go on with this lie, this national lie, this media. It's just beyond anything. It's you can't function this way.
This media, it's ridiculous, and the sad part is there's people that think that they're, you know, the mainstream media is really looking out for them. Folks, the media is not looking out for you.
I can't see how
anybody that believes that is sadly mistaken.
I can't believe the people that work there. I mean, these places have a lot of employees, and they're not all bad people. Maybe they are, but I don't see how normal people go to work and let this go on, and it just doesn't make them sick to their stomach.
The thing is, you know, even if you have, you know, the cub reporter who just came out of journalism school and he wants to, you know, he's not Woodward and Bernstein, but he wants to go and figure this out. His superiors, who are part of the, you know, MSM,
the DNC
establishment. Yeah, the DNC. They come out and they go, no, you can't do that. Go write a story about puppies. Right. Go write a story about, you know, the lion in the zoo. We don't.
There's nothing to see here. Move along.
Exactly.
It's only a federal agent that got killed.
That's the way they're treating the American people, and the American people need to wake up and go, you know what? Something doesn't smell right.
Right.
You know, this is simple math, folks. This isn't, you know, calculus. It's something doesn't smell right. If something doesn't smell right, usually it's bad.
Yeah, and it's almost in every single aspect of their reporting. I mean, it's so blatant anymore. I mean, at least before, it used to be kind of embedded and, you know, a little nuanced and things like that. Yeah, but now they just come out and lie. I mean, and even Fox News is not beyond reproach. Fox News is better than most, but Brett Baier, my favorite reporter, came out and totally botched the definition of natural-born citizen. You know, they're not telling the truth. You know, there's a game on, and it's well, let's not go there. You know, and every single congressman is gutless. If you and I can sit here and figure this out from here, they're standing next to the guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is reprehensible. I mean, it just is. We should have never let it happen. He's not even an eligible president. You know, and I'll be called crazy for saying that. I'll be marginalized in a Linsky Rules for Radicals form for telling the truth. But you can see his father was born in Kenya or wherever, not here.
Where's Kenya?
Not here.
He admitted it.
His mother and father were both communists. His grandfather was a communist.
Here's the other thing. You know, he admitted in one of his books that he traveled to Pakistan in the 80s. In the 80s, the United States was not allowing travel to Pakistan.
I know, there's
How
so
did
many.
he get there? Under what passport did he use to be able to get to Pakistan in the 80s? Or excuse me, Pakistan.
Pakistan.
In the 80s.
And the Taliban.
He would have had to use a British passport. And the only way he could have acquired a British passport was using the Kenyan father, and that would have meant that he had Kenyan citizenship, which was under British rule, and they was able to get a British passport and therefore able to go to Pakistan.
Pakistan to see the Taliban. But yeah, it's something, and I just hope it gets cleaned up, because it's no way to be. I mean, it's just not. Now we have a development. Rand Paul, and our libertarian listenership will like this. Incidentally, before I get into this story, Ward, we had a poll on the website about, this was back when the primary was still being contested, and Rick Santorum had like 27 votes or something like that, and Ron Paul, one guy voted for him 17 times, because that's just how they roll.
Well, that's very similar to somebody that would have voted for Obama.
Yeah.
He's so nice, I voted for him twice.
Well, I looked at it and I said, wow, 17 people voted for Ron Paul, and then I started thinking, two guys voted for him a bunch of times, because that's how they go. Anyway, Rand Paul launches a campaign to end the TSA. Hallelujah. New legislation would abolish government involvement in airport security. Senator Rand Paul has issued a press release in which he vows to lead the charge to end the TSA and put to a stop the needless and humiliating groping of toddlers and grandmothers. Earlier this year, Paul was detained by the TSA after refusing to submit to an invasive pat-down after already having passed through the body scanner. The incident prompted national headlines and caused the senator to miss his flight. It's time to end the TSA and get the government's hands back to only stealing our wallets instead of groping toddlers and grandmothers, said Paul in a statement. The accompanying article, sent out to Campaign for Liberty members, encourages recipients to sign a petition in support of Rand Paul's End the TSA bill. The legislation would forcibly privatize a TSA and kick government out of airport security entirely. A recently passed bill actually allows airports to replace TSA screeners with private security, but they have to go through a complex TSA permission process to do so, meaning only a handful of small airports have applied to evict the TSA. Financial contributions are also being sought to launch a full targeted media campaign to convince representatives and senators to either get on board or be held responsible for this continuing outrage. A previous End the TSA money bomb, started by Congressman Ron Paul following his son's treatment at the hands of the federal agency, has already raised over $1.6 million. The email points out that the TSA's invasive and dangerous body scanners have been proven to be completely useless, most recently by engineer John Corbett, who was able to fool the device by simply sewing an object into a side pocket. The email lists a handful of recent TSA outrages amidst the deluge that occur on a weekly basis. A TSA agent patting down a young girl at New Orleans Louis Armstrong International Airport in 2011. The video shows a cooperative family, and when the girl's mother asks, "Can't you just rescan her?" the agent replies no, and proceeds to grope the poor child. A cancer survivor in Charlotte was forced to remove a prosthetic breast. A young mother of a 2-week-old infant in Florida was harassed to open the bottles of baby formula she was traveling with on her flight, which would have spoiled the only food available to the infant. Detroit TSA officers ignored a man's warning about a colostomy bag, breaking it and forcing him to board the plane covered in urine. Read the full text of Rand Paul's statement below. Donate to the end of the TSA cause by clicking here. Sometimes our liberty slips away silently, and it is almost hard to notice what went wrong and where. The one fortunate thing about the TSA is that they certainly don't fit that definition. The American people shouldn't be subject to harassment, groping, and other public humiliation simply to board an airplane. As you may have heard, I have some personal experience with this, and I vowed to lead the charge to fight back. Please read the email below from my friend Matt Hawes at Campaign for Liberty. Campaign for Liberty is leading the fight to pressure Congress to act now and restore our liberty. It's time to end the TSA and get the government's hands back to only stealing our wallets instead of groping toddlers and grandmothers. I hope you will join Campaign for Liberty in this fight. In Liberty, Senator Rand Paul. And the author, Paul Joseph Watson, is the editor and writer for PrisonPlanet.com. He is the author of Order Out of Chaos. Watson is also a regular fill-in for host for the Alex Jones Show and InfoWars Nightly News. That would be nice if we could actually end that. That's an organization that I really don't like, and I have firsthand experience of their hiring process. They don't make too much. These guys make like 20. I forget the exact salary, but I saw people leave from my organization, kind of people on the low scale of good to go. You know, the kind of marginal people that went over there to the TSA and. You know, I mean, I've met some good agents, but as far as having an agency like that, they like tripled or quadrupled the amount of people. Going on a flight sucks anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a pain in the ass.
It really is. I mean, you get there and the only good way to go on a flight, and, you know, not many people can do this. When I travel in uniform, that's good. That's no problem. But it wasn't always that way. I had a duffel bag once. You're familiar with the duffel bag with the padlock on the top?
Yep.
Well, I sent the key for the padlock in with my other baggage, and this thing, duffel bag, I padlocked it. Well, I didn't know you weren't allowed. This son of a bitch cut my padlock and didn't even look in the goddamn bag. He, like, cut the padlock and gave it back to me. I'm like, why'd you wreck that padlock? That was a decent padlock. You know, I mean, it's an army bag. Anyway, yeah. You know, I mean, the whole thing. I'd love to see him gone. I do. I think private people could do much better.
Well, it's like anything else, you know. If you want to see how you could really, you know, cripple a way of doing things, get the government involved. And they'll add 50 more people than you need, and because they have to hire 50 more people, they make the wages so low that they don't hire good people. So you get these guys they couldn't get a job at McDonald's, you know, and
go to a 2-week school and put on a freaking uniform.
I'm kind of curious if somebody would do an investigation to find out, you know, how many of them are actually, you know, like pedophiles.
Well, they've already found them running drugs and running prostitution rings.
But I'd like to know, you know, how many of them are actually pedophiles.
Oh, yeah, you mean because of the groping. Yeah, I agree. And again, we talked about it last week. El Al does a tremendous job with profiling because they're not looking for weapons. They're looking for terrorists. They're looking for people who are going to blow up a plane. It's not that hard, man. I mean, you look at the guys that they've pulled off these flights, that shoe bomber. I mean, he would have set red lights off right away, man. Long hair, and he just had that look, you know.
Oh, yeah. So I have no doubt in my mind that I could do a better job than, you know, and not have to stop anybody.
You know, and they're trying them. You got these Muslims on the plane doing their prayer calls and all that kind of stuff, and in the airports just trying to see how far they can go. And if you look at it, really, at this stage of the game anyway, the terrorists are winning.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they were able to cripple our... I used to fly all over the place representing the United States people, the American people. I try to get out of it every way I can now. If I can drive, I'm driving. If I can postpone something or cancel it, I'm not getting on a plane. I've only been on a plane once this year, and it used to be a dozen times at least. You know, and it's just I don't like flying. I don't appreciate these people. They're like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you look at them, and they're not the upstanding military type, police type people. They're like working at the ball game or something. You know, I mean, that's kind of the feeling I get. It's not professional. Some of them are. Like one time I went to the Pittsburgh airport in uniform, and a guy came over and like grabbed me and ushered me up to the front. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to get ahead of you, but I thought that was pretty cool because it's quite obvious that I'm not going to blow the plane up.
Yeah.
You know, so they let me get in there, and but everybody should be treated right. I mean, if you're in there with your family, your wife and kids and grandmother, really, you're going to blow all them up too?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous, and they're doing it just so that they can be politically correct and say we're not profiling, we're drawing these people's name out of a hat or whatever the hell they want to say. It's all bullshit.
Oh, sure.
You know what? If you look at the guys that if they look like a terrorist and they smell like a terrorist, odds are they are a terrorist.
Absolutely.
So those are the guys. Yeah, you racially profile. You got to profile. To not profile is just it's just detrimental to everything that you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
I'm afraid I'm going to hurt his feelings and he'll have bad thoughts. Fuck him. Let him have bad thoughts.
Earn that explicit tab, baby.
Fucking right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for letting us into your life for an hour. If you want to contact the show, email us at steelcityresistance@gmail.com. Ward's done a fabulous job over on Facebook. I mean, that's almost like an entertainment site anymore. We get hits on there every day, Ward.
Yeah, and I'm digging it. I'm digging all the people that are commenting.
It's great.
Tell your friends, do the like thing, check the box. I try and post at least one thing every day. Sometimes it's quite more.
I tweet to there, so all my tweets that are relative to politics get picked up there. And I'm trying to work with the Ustream page, but I'm catching hell. I tried it 4 or 5 times. I'm going to crack that nut, and you're going to be able to watch this show on a Facebook page, but I just got to get my act together and figure out how to do it right. Go to Freedom Connector, join Steel City Resistance, our group. Need some more members there. We're up to 61, but I want some more. We're over 20,000 hits on the website. I predicted that. I was a little bit off. It happened like Monday, I think. But anyway, keep that climbing. We love you coming back and checking out the show. Let us know if you have our website in your blog roll so we can tell the folks about it, because we really appreciate that. Getting the word out is what we're all about. You guys are listening more and more each month. I mean, it's not staggering, but it's growing. So that's a good thing.
The thing is, and I have to say this, back when Hutch and I talked about doing the show, the one thing we said was, I don't care if we have 1 million people listening, as long as we're informing one person, as long as one person's getting out of this something, we've done our job. And that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get one person to go, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't need to go down and occupy, Pittsburgh this week.
Yeah. And it keeps our mind sharp, because you have to study to do this job. You can't just come out here and read. You got to know what you're talking about a little bit. I mean, we read a little bit, but that's just basically reference material, and we want to get the other good journalists that are out there, get their stories out. So anyway, if you don't have anything else, one more thing, you can call the show. I don't even know why I say this. Nobody's called the show in ages. 412-254-3750. Give us a call and we will put you on the air. We will do that. Anyway, if you don't have anything else, Ward, I guess I'm going to see you next week.
No, sir. I am over and out.